My name is Sam, and I've been married to my wife Stephanie for 22 years. And it was her birthday last month. So all month I said to her, now, you know, I haven't got you a birthday present. Is that all right? And she kept saying, yeah, it's fine, I don't need anything. And I said, are you sure? Because I really have not got you anything. And she said, yeah, I don't need anything for my birthday, it's fine. But on the day of her birthday, she said, so you're serious? You really didn't get me anything? And I said, yeah, I explained to you that I wasn't going to get you anything. She said, not even a card. I go, no, not a card. You didn't even get me like a cupcake with a candle on it. I said, no. And I thought, this is where I needed artificial intelligence. Because AI, with its deep learning, with its algorithms, with its motherload of data, would have been able to tell me, your wife wants you to do something for her birthday. This is what she wants as a present, and this is where you could have got it. So welcome again to AI. I have a PhD in theology, so I've been asked to speak more on the ethics side of AI. And AI is going to throw a lot of challenges at us. AI is going to take away many of the jobs that we do right now. AI is going to take away our privacy. Just only a few years ago, I gave my wife an iPhone as a present, and instantly I thought, why did I do that? Now she can do the Find My iPhone on me, and she knows where I am all the time. What a doofus. Why do I do that? But now, that's with facial recognition, AI is also going to know your browsing history, your swiping history, left, right, left, right. It's going to know your dating history. We're going to lose a lot of privacy. And its algorithms are going to make a lot of decisions that we're not quite comfortable with. So what are the ethical challenges of AI? AI forces us to ask again 3 very basic ethical questions. The first question that AI forces us to ask again is this: what is a human? This is my older son Toby when he was about 6 years old. And when he was 6, he asked me, Dad, how do I get my leg to move? And I said, it's easy, Toby. Your brain tells your leg to move. And then he said, but how do I tell my brain to tell my leg to move? And I said, Toby, you have stumbled upon what philosophers called the mind-body duality problem. This is what has plagued us for thousands of years, because we have taken as a given that every human being has a mind. Every human being has free will. Every human being has human rights. This has been the basis of philosophy. René Descartes, who came up with I think, therefore I am. It's become the basis of Western democracy, where the voter gets it right. Not the church, not the president, the voter gets it right. It's become the basis of business, where Nissan builds a car, but it's a flop. Nissan got it wrong, because the customer is always right. It's a basis of education, where we train people to think for themselves. Don't listen to what the church tells you. Don't listen to what your parents tell you. Your aim is to think for yourself. And this has worked up until now, but AI challenges this. This is Yuval Noah Harari, Homo Deus, and he says the history of humankind has been this. Once upon a time, the church told us what to do. But then we said, no, we tell ourselves what to do. Trust your feelings, go with your heart, do whatever makes you happy. But now with AI, algorithms are going to tell us what to do. Because in the end, that's all we are. We're just a complex set of algorithms where we plug in the variables of risk, reward, survival. And up until now, this has worked very well. And we've told ourselves fictional stories of human rights, free will, and consciousness. But in the end, these are just fictional stories. They've been useful fictional stories because up until now they've worked. We've gone with our feelings. By and large, that has worked. But now AI is going to come in with a more superset of algorithms. It's going to have access to more data than what we have. And AI will know us better than we know ourselves, and it will be able to hack our free wills and give us the illusion of free wills. So Yuval Noah Harari will say this will end up happening where we think we voted for the red party, or did we? We think we freely chose this wine and not the other one, or did we? We think we're freely thinking for ourselves, or are we? Are we just doing what the algorithm is telling us to do? So it's forcing us to ask the question, well, what is a human? Because if in the end all we are is just atoms and molecules, neurotransmitters, a complex set of algorithms, then that's okay. But if we're more than the sum of our parts, we're more than atoms and molecules, if we have free will, if we have human rights, if we have a mind, if we have moral autonomy, then there has to be more to this story. And this is the story we lived with up until now because we believe in moral autonomy, moral accountability, and so the call-out culture, the Me Too movement presumes this. Don't objectify people, we're more than just atoms and molecules, and we're called into account for our freely chosen moral actions. But if we go down this way, then we're going to have to believe again in free will, human rights, a mind, and maybe even a soul. So that's the first question. The second question we're going to have asked is this: where do I find purpose? One day a week I work in surgery as a doctor. I work as a surgical assistant. It's my job to hold the leg for the surgeon while the surgeon operates on it. And if you've heard me speak before, at work the nurses look at the surgeon and they think, yeah, I can see how that took 6 years of med school. They look at the anaesthetist and they think, yeah, I can see how that took 6 years of med school. Then they look at me holding the leg and they think, how on earth does that take 6 years of med school? A trained blind monkey could do what that guy does. Well, now a robot will be able to do what I do. So my job is under threat. But maybe that's not a bad thing. Ever since the Industrial Revolution, we've built identity and purpose into work. And that's led to careerism, overworking, and China's 997 culture, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 7 days a week. So AI will force us to re-examine what is work and what is my purpose in work. So this is Kai-Fu Lee in his book AI Superpowers, and also in a very heartwarming TED Talk. He says, this is a good thing. Rather than seeing this as a threat, we have now opportunities to re-examine the purpose of work. Work basically we can understand work as going along a horizontal axis. Down this end, we have works which require optimization, be as fast as you can, low dexterity, structured environments, so truck driving, working in factories. But down the other end is work which requires creativity, strategy, high dexterity, unstructured environment. E.g., even like the example would be a hairstylist, a very unstructured environment. On another axis, a vertical axis, we have down here work which is very asocial, very limited human interaction, so just putting money into an ATM machine would be an example of that. But up the top, social, love, empathy forms of work. So we put them together. Down this end, if you have a work that belongs in the bottom left-hand quadrant, AI is probably going to take your job. Well, what sort of jobs are we talking about? Well, surprisingly, a lot of medical specialties that require pattern recognition, diagnostic specialties like radiology, pathology, your job is under threat. If you're in insurance, if you're in legal professions, if you're in banking, if you're in finance, these jobs may go very soon. And these are typically jobs with high status, high earning. Well, what jobs are safe? Well, it's the opposite quadrant. Well, what jobs are they? Well, it's education, it's social work, it's caring for the elderly. So Kai-Fu Lee says this is good. We get to re-examine our purpose of work. It's not to gain. It's not status. Actually frees us up now to do work which loves, which serves, which gives. And so this is an opportunity for us to find a purpose in work where it's not about gaining, not about status or identity, but about serving, love, and empathy. But this only works if we say there is value in the poor, the weak, and the marginalised. Because what is the point of serving them unless, again, we believe in inherent human worth, human dignity, and human value in the least to the greatest of those in our human hierarchy. So again, it makes us ask the question, well, what is a human? The third question is this: who is the person behind the algorithm? So I have 3 boys, and this is basically the dynamic every parent goes through. You have one kid, and you think, whoa, if one kid is this much fun, how fun would 2 kids be? So then you have 2 kids, and you think, whoa, if 2 kids is this much fun, how fun will 3 kids be? So you have a 3rd kid, and you think, you know what, should have stopped at 2. You know. So kids are like beers. You know, you have 1 beer, you have 2 beers, you have 3, should have stopped at 2. So we all have these algorithms on how many children and how many beers to have. While AI has even more complex algorithms, and we know these complex algorithms. They tell you what YouTube should send up in your next feed. That's why you find yourself checking the weather on your computer, and 2 hours later you're still on YouTube. You think, what on earth just happened? As you read Kindle, Kindle is reading you. What pages did you hover over? What pages did you swipe quickly over? And that's how it recommends books for you. It is reading you, and it knows you better than you know yourself. Your ways, suddenly I find it's robbed me of free will. It's going to take me 20 minutes. Okay, I'm just going to sit in this lane. I can't change that. So it robs us of free will and autonomy. And they seem harmless. But algorithms might have a dark side to them as well, because algorithms will say things like this: you know what? Don't hire this job applicant because the chances are she will be pregnant in 2 years' time and needing maternity leave. Algorithms will say things like this: you know what? Don't give her a bank loan because she's in a socio-economic class that will be most likely to not be able to repay the loan. There might be a riot in Tibet, but the Facebook newsfeed won't give it to you because that news isn't getting as much likes as the fluffy dog story. So then algorithms might have a dark side to them. But Joanna Bryson from Bath University, UK, she says, come on, let's be serious. Algorithms have no free will. Algorithms have no consciousness. And so she rolls her eyes at the way we anthropomorphize algorithms as if they're human, you know, 2 eyes, a nose, a head, and a brain. She says, in the end, an algorithm is just code. It's just ones and zeros. There's a human behind the code. And we need to call the humans into account. And this is the point made by Zainab Tufekci in her TED Talk: machine intelligence makes human morals more important. We need to call humans into account for the way they write these algorithms. But here's me now putting on my theology ethics hat on. What does this look like? What does this mean? It's all very fun and games to talk about morals and codes of conduct, but let me show you how codes of conduct work and why they don't work. This is a typical code of conduct. We stop at red lights. Here's another typical code of conduct at the home. Last person to shower must squidgy. Here's another code of conduct. If you use up the toilet paper, change the toilet roll. Okay, so what's the problem with codes of conduct? You come to a set of lights, it goes yellow, what do? We speed up now. So it was meant to slow us down, but now we try to see how much we can get away with. What happens when you find yourself the last person having to shower? Well, I just don't shower. Not if it means I have to squidgy. So now the shower doesn't get squidgied and I don't get a shower. So you have a negative, unintended consequence from an originally well-meaning code of conduct. Or simply, when you use a toilet paper, leave one last piece there and the next person has to change the roll of toilet paper. So here we find ourselves doing the least amount necessary. My boys, we had a very simple rule for them: no devices except on weekends. But then what happened was they started binging on the weekends. Like, oh, it's Saturday morning. They'll wake up as early as they can and they're on the device. And we say, hey, we have a birthday party you get to go to. No, we need to be on our devices. And then at Sunday midnight, they go, oh no, the weekend's over. We didn't get enough device time, and they're crying. So we'd have this family timeout. What was the original intent of the device, a weekend-only device rule? It was to limit your device use. What has happened instead? You have now binged on devices. So we have gone against the intent of the original code of conduct. And that's the problem with codes of conduct. So as an ethicist, what should we do instead? We should concentrate on the character of the person, not the conduct of the person. We need to concentrate on the person and not the principle, the actor and not the action. In other words, we need to return to the ethics of Aristotle, what ethics people call virtue ethics. So if you want a cram course on Aristotle and ethics, Tom Morris, if Aristotle ran General Motors, we could have, if Aristotle coded, programmed, what would happen? Well, we need to look at the character of the person. What would Aristotle say we're looking for? We're looking for truth, goodness, beauty, and harmony as virtues in our character, in the person. And so when we write algorithms, we want truth and not fake news. We want things that promote goodness and not bad outcomes. We want beauty rather than something distasteful, something that creates harmony rather than something that creates disharmony through just likes and clickbaits. But here's the problem. One person's truth is another person's fakeness. One person's goodness is another person's badness. What is beautiful for me might be distasteful for you. One person's harmony is another person's disharmony. If you've heard me before, I call this the auto bin problem. I live on a street where, it's my job every night to take out the auto bin, and every week I have to think, is it green bin or is it yellow bin? Is it green bin or is it yellow bin? So then on the street, I wait to see what someone else puts out first. And we're all doing this. So everyone on the street is just waiting. And finally someone comes out with a green bin and we all put out our green bins. And this really happened. We found it was yellow bin. Meaning we need something external to ourselves. And that's the problem with codes of conduct. Whose code of conduct? Do we go the Chinese persons or the Westerners? Do we go the millennial or the baby boomer? Do we go the big corporate or the corner store? We need something that's external to the individual, to the corporation and society. So are we prepared to admit there's something transcendent to me, the corporation and the society that I can refer to as true, good, beautiful and harmonious? So these are the ethical questions. What is a human? Where do I find purpose? And who is the person behind the algorithm?